Merchant of Venice. Again, it doesn't matter if you do it or not. This will actually be really helpful for you. I'm going to do this as an example of a body paragraph now. And again, what I would recommend you all do, please pay attention to this piece of advice. Go to all of your body paragraphs and look at how I do this. The first thing I do when I look at the students is I go, boom, okay, that one's your topic sentence. I go, okay, this is going to be your first piece of analysis. And then thereafter, I'm just spacing out each sentence. This is what I was talking about before, because I want to be able to isolate them and see how many sentences it's taking to make each point. I only need 3 to 4 points. Say this is 3 body paragraphs, this essay, which I would recommend for the common mod and module B, potentially module A, unless you're a really fast writer, in which case you might be able to do 4 bodies. But assuming you're doing 3 body paragraphs for your essays, you're aiming for about 4 points, 4 pieces of analysis within each one, 3 if you're a slow writer. But what you can see I'm doing here is I'm splitting up all the sentences because I want to be able to very easily distinguish between each point and each quote. Okay, it's going to allow you to see things better. I believe they actually had more here. So I'm actually just taking the first half of theirs. It was way too long. But you would then, of course, at the end have a link sentence. So for those asking, can I go through a body paragraph? This is an example of it. They did have other pieces of evidence there. So I don't want to misrepresent their response, but it was too long. It wouldn't have to be any longer than this. Look at this. That's already 180 words. I mean, once you have a link sentence, you're looking at 200. Again, 200 to 250 if you're doing 3 bodies, but the word count doesn't really mean anything. It's all about how fast you can write it. So that's why you have to time it yourself. Only you know how much you can write to get within that 32 to 34 minute threshold. Okay, so have a look at the first sentence here. Shylock embodies a complete set of different human experiences from those of Bassanio and Antonio. So very specific character references, not always a bad thing, and particularly embodies the ideas of hatred and vengeance. Look at that, the ideas of hatred and vengeance. We don't like that because it's just listing, and you're also telling me about ideas. I know there are ideas in this play. I know there are ideas in all of the texts. That's why you're doing an essay on it. You don't need to tell me the ideas. You just need to tell me what they are. So really what you wanted to say there was it embodies hatred and vengeance. So the first step is don't use words like themes, ideas. Just tell me what they are. The second point, and I wonder if people can see this, what's the problem with this particular part here? Hatred and vengeance. You're just listing 2 words that don't mean anything. Hatred, vengeance. You're not telling me anything about either of them, and you've also lumped them together. So here we have the famous problem, which I bet a lot of you watching have done, right? That's just because it's a very common mistake, is you've got listing. And what listing does is it makes you think you've said more than you have. So this student has said hatred and vengeance. They're like, oh, yep, I've talked about a few things or a couple of things here in this topic sentence. It's like, you've actually talked about nothing. You've just told me 2 buzzwords that I don't really know what you want to say about them. So don't list. Choose one idea. Choose one idea. You haven't even got an idea there. You've just got not a buzzword. Okay. We need an idea, a fleshed out idea. Okay. And we need one idea that you can flesh out and expand on. Okay. Because hatred is not an idea. That's just a theme word and it doesn't tell me anything. Okay. Hopefully that's making sense to you. So if we're going to say it embodies hatred and vengeance, I mean, yeah, I don't really want either of those. I want you to tell me something about it, right? You've said here it embodies a complete set of different human. I mean, do you mean inconsistent? Different is problematic as well. If we go back, I don't know about a complete set. I think you've also used embodies twice. Look at these things. Like these are just little technical things that it's like, okay, we can easily tidy this up. So let's have a look underneath to see if I can just use what they've got here just to make this a lot cleaner. Okay, so the edit of this, and notice how I do the edit because you can do this yourselves. Instead of, Shylock embodies a complete set. I don't like complete, as I said. I would just go straight into different because it's all about being concise. What is complete set? Why is that necessary? Okay, it almost sounds a little bit informal. So Shylock represents. Now, do I want different? Different problematic, inconsistent, paradoxical. I would say inconsistent because that's a rubric term. That's way better than different. Different isn't in the rubric. So Shylock represents inconsistent human experiences. Like I kind of don't like the framing of the whole sentence. It's just like problematic for me, just the way it's just so character based, and it's like they have different human experiences to that character. It's like you're not really saying anything specific there. You could say through again. I'm going to go through, but you wouldn't overuse this. It's just through the paradoxical emotions of the paradoxical experiences of, now we say it's victimhood and vengeance, right? Of social alienation or racial ostracization, or we could even say like social alienation. The paradoxical experiences of social alienation and private vengeance, Shylock embodies the potential, right, for victim to become villain. I mean, I'm just going to do it there. I just think that's already a lot stronger because it's saying one specific point. It's sharp. Now I'm using victim. The reason why that it's going to suggest to put S's on, but for victim to become villain, it's more for dramatic effect. I think it still makes sense that way. Now, are these experiences paradoxical, being alienated and getting vengeance? I mean, maybe they're not. They are kind of antithetical because on one hand you're alienated, on the other hand you're actually getting revenge against someone. They're connected in some way. We have to use paradoxical quite broadly. You could argue there's probably a better word than paradoxical, but I'm just trying to engage with the rubric in that way. Okay. We could say like social victimhood and also, and being a villain, like being a victim and a villain, that's kind of paradoxical, isn't it? Embodies the power, for the victim, for a victim of racial prejudice. Let's build this. Let's build on it because the first draft's never the one you keep, right? It's never the one you keep. Shylock embodies the potential for a victim of racial prejudice to paradoxically a villain, right? Then we'd say like kind of anomalous characterization within Shakespeare's play. Now, we could do a lot better with that. I'm just doing a pretty general one there, but notice I'm getting rid of this bit now. I actually don't like it. It wasn't quite paradoxical enough for me. I think the paradox is how victim is villain. So we were on the right track there. I'm thinking aloud as I go through this, and I think I'll stick with that one for now, right?